Hello and welcome to Geology, your channel dedicated to making concepts in biology simple, easy to understand, and interesting. So today we are going to discuss about the excretory system. We're going to revise the excretory system. This topic is covering a lot of portion from the 10th standard syllabus of different boards, primarily CBSE, but then it also caters to the needs of ICC and matriculation boards as well. So let's begin. For those of you who are new to this channel or who have not attended previously the previous sessions, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Sanchita, a 2 times university rank holder from Mumbai and Chennai universities. I am also a certified lecturer, having qualified the CSIR UGC NET for lecturership, and I was in the panel for correction of medical entrance practice exam test papers, and I have also authored a few study materials for 2 coaching institutions. I have been taking classes for students for almost about a decade and a half now, and to talk all of this is to let you know that I am coming with a lot of experience which has worked for me, and I'm sure that will work for you as well. So today we are going to discuss about the excretory system. So we are going to see what is excretion, what is kidney, what is a nephron, what is the mechanism for the formation of urine, and what is dialysis or the artificial kidney. Now, the human excretory system. So let's understand what is excretion. So when we have a lot of these reactions which happen within our body, a lot of biochemical reactions which have their particular purpose, but they also come with a lot of byproducts. A lot of byproducts are also produced, and these byproducts need to be eliminated because they are poisonous. So if they stay in the body, for example, urea, if it stays in the body, or carbon dioxide, if it stays in the body for a longer period, then it, or to a concentration which is very high, then it can go to dangerous levels of even death. So the process of removal of these toxic wastes, mainly containing the nitrogen from the body, is known as excretion, right? So the major waste products are carbon dioxide and urea. Carbon dioxide is removed from lungs, where the gaseous exchange takes place. So from different organs in the body, the red blood cells will carry deoxygenated blood, and this goes to the lungs, where there are alveoli and there is gaseous exchange that happens. Carbon dioxide is released. Oxygen combines with the hemoglobin present in the red blood cells. It forms oxyhemoglobin, and then the oxygenated fresh blood goes to the different organs. This is one of the major waste products. The other one is the urea. So now urea is produced mainly from the breakdown of unused proteins, and this is removed by the kidneys. The blood enters into the kidneys through the renal artery. It gets purified here inside the kidney. The excess water and toxic substances leave the kidney in the form of urine, and then the clean blood, which is cleaned or devoid of these urea and excess salts, etc., goes back to the body through the renal vein. So this is the other major waste product. Apart from this, skin also acts as an excretory organ to some extent, because it eliminates waste products in the form and excess water in the form of sweat. That's a minor one as compared to this. So here we have mentioned the major ones. Now coming to the excretory system. Now human excretory system is mainly formed of kidney and the associated excretory urinary related organs. You may also ask me, what about feces? Well, feces is a waste which is formed by the alimentary tract or the food pipe. The alimentary canal at the end of the entire digestion process has waste products which are stored in the rectum and which gets ejected or egested. So that process is known as egestion or defecation, and there the feces is removed, and that forms a part of the digestive system, and we covered that in the studies of digestive system. So when we are talking about excretory system, we are mainly looking at the urinary waste products or the urine. So related to the urine, the parts of the body which take care of this process of formation and elimination of urine are the kidneys, which are two in numbers. The right kidney is a little lower than the left kidney, and kidneys are bean-shaped structures, as you can see here. They are involved in the removal of waste products and excess water and waste products like urea and excess salts. And kidney is made up of a lot of nephrons which are present inside the kidney. Each kidney is about 13 centimeters in size. Then from the kidney you have these tubes which are known as the ureters. Okay, so these are again two in number, each arising from each of the two kidneys, and they bring the urine which gets stored in the urinary bladder till the time the bladder gets filled, and it sends a signal to the brain for elimination of the urine, which happens through the urethra. So urethra is a tube through which the urine passes out of the body, right? So let's look at these smaller portions of the smaller parts inside the kidney, which is known as the nephron. Now, nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney. So it is the smallest part which is completely involved in the process of urine formation, and this is the nephron is the one which functions for processing and producing urine. So this word nephron is derived from the Greek word called nephros, which means kidney. And each nephron is about 35 to 55 millimeters in length, and each kidney has almost about 1 million nephrons in them. So what is the function of the nephron? It helps in excretion of waste. It also maintains the pH in the blood, and it regulates the blood pressure. All of this happens because of the maintenance of the pH inside the urinary in the urine and the blood which goes back, and also maintenance and excretion of the excess salts, which regulates the blood pressure, right? So now a little more delving a little more into the nephron. By the way, are you clear so far? Do you have any questions? If you do, you may please ask me now. We can look at the questions. Yeah. So please type in your questions in the chat box, and I can take it as I see them, or maybe at the end of the session. Yeah. Okay. So let's continue in the meanwhile. So the kidney has two portions. The outer portion is known as cortex. So if you cut the kidney, and then you will be able to see a cortex, and you will be able to see the medulla. Nephron, a part of it is present in the cortex, and a part of it is present inside the medulla. That's how the nephron is present. So the outer portion is the cortex, the inner region is the medulla, and the nephron is present between the two. Now let's look at the structure of the nephron. Nephron is formed of the Bowman's capsule and this tubule. So in this diagram, the yellow portion is what forms the nephron. So the Bowman's capsule and this yellow tube-like structure which is called the tubule. Both of these two together forms what is known as the nephron. Okay. So one end of the tubule is connected to the Bowman's capsule, and the other end of the tubule is connected to the collecting duct here. Yeah, here this end is connected to the collecting duct, and this end is connected to the Bowman's capsule. Now, what is Bowman's capsule? This cup-like structure here, okay, is the Bowman's capsule, and inside the Bowman's capsule you can see there is a whole cluster of blood capillaries. Okay, this cluster of blood capillaries is known as the glomerulus. So glomerulus comes from a Latin word glomer, which means a ball of thread. So since it's an entangled mass of capillaries like a ball, this is known as glomerulus. Okay, and so glomerulus starts with the renal artery. So a branch of the renal artery enters into the glomerulus, then it gets broken down into more capillaries, and then it turns into the capillaries, and the capillaries then further rejoin to form the renal vein in the as it goes down around the tubule. Okay. So the renal artery brings the oxygenated blood, because arteries always bring the blood away from the heart, right? If you have attended my previous session where we revised the circulatory system, we saw that the arteries always take the blood away from the heart. So when the blood goes away from the heart, it's oxygenated blood. So it's rich in oxygen, but this renal artery is also bringing the blood from the other parts of the other organs and other parts of the body. So this blood is dirty. When we say it's dirty, which means it is high in concentration of urea and other salts. It has a higher concentration of that. This blood goes through the purification process inside the nephron, and then when the blood goes back through the renal vein, this blood is clean blood, but it is deoxygenated, because veins always carry deoxygenated blood, and the vein takes the blood to the heart. Okay, so renal artery brings the dirty blood into the nephron, and renal vein takes the clean blood away from the nephron. Okay, now let us look at glomerulus a little more in details. So glomerulus is this cup-like structure, yeah, and it receives the renal artery. The part of the artery which enters into the glomerulus is known as the afferent arteriole. Arteriole is a smaller artery or a thinner artery. So the artery which brings in the blood is known as the afferent arteriole. Then it converts into this glomerulus, and then the one which is coming out of the Bowman's capsule is known as the efferent arteriole. So afferent arteriole brings the blood inside the inside the glomerulus, and efferent arteriole takes the blood outside. Now how do you remember it? Well, A comes first, E comes afterwards. So A brings in, it's the first one which brings in the blood, and E takes it, exits it. So exit starts with E and efferent starts with E. So it will be easy to remember. A brings the blood and E takes the blood out. Afferent arteriole brings the blood, efferent arteriole takes it out. Now this Bowman's capsule plus the glomerulus together is known as the renal corpuscle. Okay. And you can see here that there are a lot of proteins, there are a lot of other wastes. So here there is an exchange or filtration which takes place. So this filtration of blood happens here, and the excess water and the excess salts and everything, all that, not only excess, the water and the salt content actually diffuses out using the process of osmosis, and it goes into the the Bowman's capsule, and from the Bowman's capsule it goes to the tubule as a filtrate. Okay, so that filtrate contains glucose, it contains amino acids, it contains salts, it contains water, it contains urea, and all of those things. Right. Now let's see the structure and function of the nephron. Now we have already looked at this portion, which is the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule. For you to be able to remember the structure and function of nephron and make it easy to draw, I would suggest that you first draw this portion, which is the nephron, the yellow tubes and so on, and then you draw the arteries or the blood vessels like this, and you then join these blood vessels over that diagram. It will become easier for you. Otherwise, most of the time students start drawing this and then they draw this and they draw this and then they draw this, all of that together, and finally when it comes out it becomes so messy that for a teacher it's very difficult to understand which tube is going where and whether you have drawn them correctly. And sometimes most of the many times students themselves get confused and they draw the vein separately, they draw the artery separately, and they mix it up with the tubule, and you lose marks there. So the better idea will be that you first draw this nephron tubule along with the tubule and everything, then you draw this artery portion, and then you draw this vein and the capillaries. Okay, and then you take this out from here. Right, so let's see. And I always advocate that whenever you're drawing a diagram, in exams, maybe if you have a 5 marks question, then you can draw the diagram, label it, and then you write the answer in the form of paragraphs or points and all that, depending on whether it's 5 marks or 3 marks question. But when you are preparing for the exams at home, draw the diagram, label the parts, and along with the parts write the structure, write the function of each of these parts, so that each time you look at the diagram you have the part, you have the function together. And the more you see the diagrams, maybe probably stick it to a wall or stick it at a place where near your study, so that you look at this diagram often and you're able to remember the names of the parts and their functions at the same time. Okay, so the first part we have already seen Bowman's capsule, a cup-like structure which holds the glomerulus. Then what is glomerulus? It is the ball of capillaries which filters small solutes from the blood. Then both of these two together is known as the renal corpuscle. This we have already seen in the previous slide. Now further, this Bowman's capsule extends into a very convoluted, which means something which is very entangled. Convoluted means entangled or with a lot of curve. And then proximal convoluted tubule, PCT. It's also called PCT. So this portion of the nephron, this is actually the renal tubule, where the first portion is known as the proximal convoluted tubule. Why is it called proximal? Proximal comes from the word proximity. Proximity is closeness. So since this portion of is close to the Bowman's capsule, hence it is known as the proximal convoluted tubule. So the proximal convoluted tubule, its function is it reabsorbs iron, water and nutrients, and it removes the toxins and adjusts the filtrate pH. Now we saw that in the glomerulus, the water and filtration takes place and from the blood. So water along with all the salts, they all come into the cup-like structure called the Bowman's capsule, and then they enter into the tubule. Now the entire water comes out. We cannot lose entire water, then we will get dehydrated. So only the excess water needs to be removed. So the balance needs to be reabsorbed into the body. Similarly, all the salt does not need to be removed. The required salts, the required quantity of salt and some of the other ions, etc., that needs to be taken back into the body, or it has to be reabsorbed, and that happens inside the tubule of the nephron. So the first portion, that is the proximal convoluted tubule, there these ions, water, nutrients, all these things are reabsorbed, and the toxins are left behind, and it also adjusts the pH level of the filtrate. Filtrate is what gets collected from the blood, so the pH level of the filtrate. So this proximal convoluted tubule is present inside the cortex. Okay. This proximal convoluted tubule further goes down here, and it forms the descending loop of Henle. Descending because it's coming down. And the descending loop of Henle, it allows the water to pass from the filtrate into the interstitial fluid. So the water moves out in the form of osmosis and goes into the interstitial fluid. So the water gets removed, excess water gets removed from the filtrate. The filtrate is what is going to become our final urine. So from the filtrate, the required ions, water and nutrients have been removed by the proximal convoluted tubule, and the water is being removed by the descending loop of Henle. Now from there, it starts going back through the ascending loop of Henle. Ascending loop of Henle, it reabsorbs the sodium and chlorine ions from the filtrate into the interstitial fluid. So here the sodium ions and the chlorine ions, they get reabsorbed from the filtrate and move into the interstitial fluid. Now this ascending then this ascending loop of Henle further goes to form the distal convoluted tubule. Distal means far off from the Bowman's capsule. Convoluted means it folded. So these portions are folded, both this proximal convoluted and distal convoluted tubules, they are folded because these folds helps to increase the total length. So the more is the length, the better, the more space is available for doing this selective absorption. So the distal convoluted tubule, this will also absorb different ions, and it maintains the pH and the electrolyte balance of the filtrate. Okay. So the ascending loop of Henle and the descending loop of Henle together is known as loop of Henle. And loop of Henle is present in the medulla portion of the kidney. So we saw earlier that kidney has an outer cortex and inner medulla. So in the cortex, we have the convoluted portion of the tubule and the Bowman's capsule, while the loop of Henle is present inside the medulla. Okay. So the loop of Henle plus the proximal convoluted tubule plus the distal convoluted tubule together is known as the renal tubule. So renal tubule is formed of the loop of Henle plus the proximal convoluted tubule plus the distal convoluted tubule. Okay. From the distal convoluted tubule, now the filtrate flows into the collecting duct. Collecting duct collects this urine and it drains it into a bigger or a larger duct, which finally goes to the ureter, which then drains the urine into the urinary bladder, where it gets stored before being removed from the body. So I hope the structure of the nephron is clear now with all the functions of the different parts. You may take a snapshot of this slide and then draw it on a bigger, at least an A4 size paper, and then stick it on the wall. So that will help you to keep remembering. Okay. So depending on the type or the length of the loop of Henle, there are two types of nephrons. One is known as the short cortical nephrons, like these ones, where the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule is here, and the uh, convoluted portions are here. The loop of Henle, major portion of the loop of Henle is present inside the cortex, and a very little portion is present in the medulla, and this is actually short. So these short ones are known as the short cortical nephrons, and the larger ones are the juxtamedullary nephrons, because they have a longer loop of Henle which is present deep into the medulla. Both of these two nephrons do have the quality of urine produced by both of them. There is a difference in osmosity of the in what these nephrons produce. So this diagram is taken from the Ohio State University, Columbus, Ohio. I have been taking the diagrams from different places over the internet to help you understand the subject. Okay. Then you have the next thing is about dialysis. So before that, let us quickly recollect how does the urine gets formed. There is filtration, which happens here, then there is reabsorption, and then there is collection, and then there is elimination. Okay. Now if for some reason the kidney is not functioning properly, either due to some injury or due to any renal disease, if the kidney is not functioning properly and this reabsorption does not take place, or the filtration properly does not take place, in that case either there is a renal transplant that is done, wherein a donor's kidney is given to an individual and the damaged or the non-functional kidney is removed. That's a very it's a major operation. With of course with the developments, medical developments these days, there is a high rate of survival, but it's very expensive. It depends upon the availability of a matching donor and also the body's ability to accept the new organ and start functioning. And further, the patient also has to take a lot of care throughout their lives. For those where this is not possible, and before it reaches a stage where renal transplant is the only option, there is a process which is known as dialysis, which is done. Dialysis is an artificial way to eliminate the waste and excess fluid from the body. Okay. So the dialysis is also the dialysis machine is also known as an artificial kidney, and when the kidney is not functioning properly is when we do dialysis. So many times this question comes about what is the principle of dialysis, what is the main principle of dialysis. So dialysis works with three different processes. One is diffusion, osmosis, and ultrafiltration. And all of this basically involves the movement or diffusion of solute particles across a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, so the blood of a person having the kidney failure, it needs to be cleaned regularly, right? And this is done using the kidney machine or the dialysis machine, and the procedure which is used for cleaning the blood of the person by separating the waste process is known as dialysis. So dialysis is the procedure for cleaning the blood of the person by separating the waste or the urea from it. Okay, so here the blood is taken out from the artery. It is pushed through a dialyzer, and the dirty blood is then moved through a dialysing solution. So there are a lot of tubes through which the blood passes, and there is a tank of water containing glucose and salts. So the dialysis tubes go into these tanks, and these dialysis tubes are made up of semi-permeable membrane, which resembles the cellulose. So here the osmosis takes place, and the waste substances diffuse out of the body into the dialysis solution, and then the clean blood goes out, and then it is put back into the vein. Generally, the artery and the vein of the hand is taken. Dialysis takes some time where the patient has to lie down and spend a couple of hours for the entire process to get over. So that's how dialysis happens, and that's also known as the artificial kidney, right? So that brings us to the end of today's portion. It was a small topic to deal with. So if you have any questions, or if anybody else has posted any questions, we can take them now. Yeah. Okay. Somebody has asked me about the function of kidneys. Well, function of kidney is to remove the poisonous substances like urea and other waste salts and excess water from the blood, and then excrete them in the form of a yellowish liquid known as urine. Right. Yes, somebody is asking about excretion in plants. We will be taking that up in a separate video. Today's video is more about the human excretory system. We'll take excretion in plants separately. Yeah. Cool. So if there are no other questions, then I would request that you please subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, please press the like button. And when you subscribe into the channel, go into the channel, you will find a lot of study material which is useful for you. There are certain productivity enhancement tools which will help you how to remember topics, how to perform well, and so on. Your NCERT text questions and book questions have been answered. There are practice, assertion, and reasoning questions, videos related to that as well. So please do go through all of this. This will really help you prepare well and get your the subject concepts become like very solid. We also have a WhatsApp group which is called Givology, where we communicate with other students. We exchange information related to biology. You can also ask your personalized specific questions, may not be related to this topic. If you have any other ones, you can get those doubts clarified directly with me. It's free of charge. So you can join the WhatsApp group. I'm going to give the link of the group in the description. So after this video goes, after the live session is over, the video will get posted into the live section of the channel. So please go into that and look at the description, where you will find the link for joining the WhatsApp group. So if you wish, you can join on that as well. So with that, I thank you for the time you have spent with me today in understanding this topic and studying that with me together. Hope you have found value in this video. So stay tuned for many more to come in future, and wish you all the best for your upcoming exams. Thank you so much.